today. All the major Gulf indices, including the Saudi All-Share, the Kuwait Market Index, and the Dubai Financial Market, all closing to the downside today. In studio, we're very pleased to welcome CNBC's Karina Camel. She's on special assignment for us from our Dubai headquarters. Welcome. It is such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
What do you make of what's going on there? Some of it, in Kuwait's case anyway, was related to currency and default swaps there. But overall, the market has been indiscriminately hit all the way across the board.
Absolutely. So exactly what's happening right now is that we're seeing, whereas previously you could say that the region was immune or that the region was decoupled, that's absolutely not the case anymore. And we're seeing a sentiment, a contagion of sentiment, panic sweeping across the region. In addition to that, we're also seeing a lot of capital flight, a lot of foreign investors taking their money out of the region. Now, those are the people who were betting on some of the currencies in places like Dubai, for example, depegging from the dollar. Right. And then when they saw that wasn't likely to happen, they started pulling their money out.
The decline in the price of oil, obviously a big cause of concern here. Is there any sense that there was any money put aside, or were they spending it as if the prices were going to stay high forever?
A lot of the Gulf nations, in fact, used all their petrodollars or their oil surplus to pump it back into the region. Now, what happened as a result is we saw very high inflation. We saw property houses soar, and people are warning of a potential property bubble as well. There is money aside. The sovereign wealth funds clearly still have a lot of money. Abu Dhabi, for example, close to $1 trillion still. But we just heard this week from the Kuwait Investment Authority, the KIA, saying that it has suffered some losses. It won't give estimates as to how much yet.
And the ripple effects. There were so many companies from around the world that had put money into property development, into infrastructure. You know, you really can't quantify yet, I don't think, what the effects of all of this will be. You know, you had global companies, infrastructure companies that were placing huge bets.
Relocating
Dubai,
their headquarters there.
Everything was moving to that particular part of the world. Do we get a sense yet of whether those projects have now been put on hold? Are we hearing anything anecdotally yet, or is it too soon?
There isn't any anecdotal evidence yet, but clearly project finance is one of the main drivers of growth in the region. But it has to be remembered as well that fundamentals are still relatively strong. We are seeing positive growth in the Gulf. But what's really happening now is this fear of contagion from the credit crisis. We are still seeing good consumption, but inflation, again, is another concern, as is the oil price.
Trading there is very different than here, right? It's not every single day. It happens on Sundays. Tell us, you know, everybody here in the United States is used to Monday through Friday. Well,
basically, most markets are closed on Friday. Some trade certain hours on Saturday. The Saudi market, for example, the largest in the region, is closed on Sunday. It's closed on Thursday. So really what we're seeing now is if something happens on Wall Street, pretty much it's going to happen, or we're going to see the effect of it, or the ripple effect back in the region. And that does, the trading day and the sort of staggered trading does have an effect on the markets as well.
Fascinating.
Cool.
Well, you're going to be with us till after the election, so we look forward to your joining us on Power Lunch as often as we can rope you into it. You've got a lot of work to do, I know, but thanks, Karina, and welcome again. Quick break, and then we're staying on top of the markets. We have a triple-digit gain. We're up 173 points or so.
You know, Karina, in the Mideast, there was some thought that these markets were somewhat protected from at least the credit crunch that is happening here in the U.S. It seems that they are not protected, again, by these convulsions that we're seeing in the currency markets. What's happening there?
Absolutely not. I mean, people were saying that at the beginning of this year, but if you look at what people are talking about now, there's an absolute case of contagion. A lot of people are saying it's just a matter of sentiment. The fundamentals are still strong in the region. We're seeing a lot of growth. Today, we heard of a bailout for one of the first bailouts of a bank in the entire region, Gulf Bank in Kuwait. The second largest commercial bank had to be aided by the government. I mean, this is unprecedented, and that is really sending a lot of panic, because it's not just the fact that they're exposed to these investments elsewhere, but it's actually happening locally.
And what about Dubai? We start to hear a lot about that in the States, all the real estate development that's gone on there with borrowed money. Of course, many consider it the financial capital of the Mideast in many ways. Is it getting worse?
Absolutely. I think in Dubai, the main issue is to do with the property market. A lot of people are saying we're going to see a property bubble. A lot of investment banks in the region, like EFG, are predicting that the prices will go down by 20% in the next few years. So that's a huge concern for Dubai.